Okay, so this is my first time going live. No video today. No, not no video today. I just actually uploaded a video. Hope everyone gets the opportunity to check it out. They were recorded a little while ago, but please take a look. One is on the age of Aquarius. There was a new moon in Aquarius last Friday. So there's some really interesting information. I'm going to be uploading a short as well about just, I guess, a condensed version if you're not really interested in all the details. But it's some really interesting information that definitely applies to the times that we're living in right now. So hopefully that will be of interest to everyone that has subscribed. And again, thank you for all my subscribers, all the new subscribers as well. Welcome. I'm hoping to get into doing some doing some free yes or no questions and one card pull for answers to questions, and just trying to work my way into doing personals. I'm still going to be going live and doing collective readings and just other lives and like chit chats and stuff. I'm just trying to work on a schedule because things have been really crazy. And out here in the East, it's been very cold and a lot of people are snowed in. So, yeah, I just wanted to um, do a little quick update and also a little quick story time. Um, where to begin? So, what else was I gonna mention? Um, yeah, I guess getting right into it, getting right into the story time. So I'm trying to remember what else there was that I wanted to mention. Other than again, just to thank everyone who is subscribing and is finding my channel. I'm also on TikTok under the cheat code 111, and I post some information there. Oh yes, I haven't been posting a lot of updates on YouTube. I've been kind of building my TikTok channel, but with like a lot of short form content. And I need to start updating my channel again with my new moon and full moon information and, new moon and full moon readings. And I'm going to get into some other things that I have planned. But again, bear with me, stay tuned. Hopefully things will be on schedule, and I'll be able to provide a schedule so you guys know when to expect me to go live. So, yeah, again, just a quick story time. This is about the spiritual attacks and things that I had been experiencing. And I was just remembering one of the major episodes of the attacks when they started getting physical. And yeah, so what had happened was I had made a bunch of purchases at an expensive, popular store that people might be familiar with. Don't necessarily want to name drop, still learning the ins and outs of what's okay and not okay for certain platforms and trying to keep those straight when I'm switching from one platform to the next. So, speaking of which, I should probably just have like a little note like, okay, when you're on YouTube, you can't mention this and you can't mention that. But, anyways, when the symptoms started getting physical, what I had recalled was I had made some purchases, some just really spur of the moment type purchases. There was a lot of things that I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of overhaul my, skincare routine and makeup and all the rest of that sort of stuff. And I had a little chunk of money saved, put aside. And, you know, I wouldn't say money wasn't an object or a concern, but it just wasn't something that would prevent me from purchasing, just a series of things to just, again, overhaul my routine. So I went and I purchased a whole bunch of things. Now, this was under something that I'm going to have to get into a longer story time that it was going to have to be in like parts. Um, I was just under a lot of stress and I hadn't slept in a few days, which definitely contributes to lowering your vibration and assists in you being able to be attacked. So, yeah, what ended up happening was I was kind of influenced by whichever spirit guides, or I wouldn't say guides, but whatever spirits were connected to me at that time, because leading up to that event and other events, I had noticed that the energy was shifting for me. So whenever I would be doing like my communing with my ancestors and things of that nature and my spirit guides, I just kept feeling the energy, feeling just heavier and different. For me, one thing that kind of is an indicator of, heavier, darker, or low vibrational energies is when I'm shuffling cards, or using any other tools of divination, and they tend to just spill or just kind of go all over the place. I had been using some prayer candles and they were smoking quite a bit. And that as well is for me, I don't know how anybody else reads candles, but that was an indicator that there was like some dark energy around, and it was kind of, I wouldn't say giving resistance. Resistance is usually like a small flame, but just puffing black smoke is kind of like it's, for lack of better words, like excreting the negativity. So it's definitely showing me that there was a lot of darkness that was, kind of lingering and looming. But I was hoping that, after doing a few prayers and using a few prayer candles, that that would subside. And that didn't really seem to be the case. So I'm just trying to find a way to explain like the mental state that I was in, because I had mentioned before in another one of my videos, that there's a lady that goes by Pretty Blind Eyes, that she had mentioned. So I think she had studied psychology, and she had mentioned that there's a thin line between, I think she said that there's a thin line between psychic and psychosis, I believe is how she worded it. And that was very true, because a lot of the things that you experience having psychic abilities, if you want to call it that, I prefer spiritual gifts, but psychic abilities, it's like you're picking up on spiritual activity, whether it be, words that are being projected to you, full on sentences, you're hearing songs playing just to communicate with you, because the other side, as basically a medium, you are in between worlds. You're in between the physical, the 3D world, and the 5D. So you're picking up a lot of information and messages that are coming from the other side. So I had noticed that the energy was getting really heavy, as I had mentioned, and there was a lot of influence. And the influence that I was getting was of a lower vibration. But I had been so worn out and burnt out, with a series of things that had led up to that point, that I was just being guided completely wrong. And how I realized that, just officially without being able to make any excuses for it, was again going shopping one day and just minding my business. And when I had finally, returned home, I just noticed that over a series of a couple of days of just, kind of unpacking what I had purchased and kind of deciding, okay, how am I going to arrange my routine? What am I going to use first? What am I not going to use? What do I want to keep, etc. I was realizing that I had purchased like over, we'll say it's very close to like $1,000 worth of products in just one shot, which is definitely something I've never done before in my life. And that was quite a bit of money to spend. And I realized that the things that I had purchased were a lot of the same type of products. Like a lot of them were like all moisturizers, all certain types of cleansers. Some of them were like different, not different, not even different shades, but different, let's say, for example, like blushes or highlighters, for makeup. And they were like the same color, but different brands and stuff like that. And I'm like, how did I end up doing that? I just had a whole lot of the same thing, essentially, is what it comes down to. And I just realized that I just was not present. Like my mind was not present. I don't know if I was possessed or if I was taken over or if I just was not uh, present, like something else, just the distraction. I don't know what it was, but I just realized I had bought a whole bunch of stuff without even really paying attention to what I was buying. And I said, absolutely not. And I took it back. And when I took it back, as I was leaving the store, immediately as I stepped out of the store, I started to feel physical symptoms. Like my heart started racing, and I was like, okay, what is this? Because it's happened to me before, like when you experience like a lot of heavy stress, like feeling like, chest tightness and things like that. So I was like, oh boy, I hope this is not happening again, because I didn't feel stressed, but it was just coming from out of nowhere. I started feeling kind of lightheaded, a little dizzy, disoriented, like a whole bunch of symptoms were just coming over me and then all over my body. I was having back pains and all these different things were just firing off at the same time. But the main concern for me was like my heart because it was like just beating, just like an what's the word? Almost like a yeah, like just like an irregular heartbeat. And I didn't know what to do. And I was so confused. Like my mind was just like really taken over because are um when you are connecting with, we'll say, the spirit realm, it's like you're getting messages and different things like that, and it can be distracting and confusing for you. So I was just like, my mind was just totally like, I couldn't even think of how I was going to even get home because I'm trying to pay attention to the fact that I'm getting all these symptoms from out of nowhere. I couldn't link it to anything in particular. And I'm thinking, okay, how do I get to a hospital? Or should I go to a hospital? Should I go to urgent care? And I'm like, okay, there's a hospital close by. Maybe I can go there, but how do I know if they're open? How do I know how to get in there? Like which way do I go to get in there? Like where's the entrance? And all these things were running through my head other than like actual action. And something was stepping in and was telling me like, hey, you know, go to the information desk at the mall and ask them, for a taxi. And I was still like kind of debating. I'm like, where am I taking a taxi to if there's like a hospital like right around the corner? And I was looking up on my phone trying to like search for a taxi number. And I was just like, something just kept telling me, go to the information center or the information booth and ask for a taxi number, and the taxi will take you to the hospital. So I ended up doing that. And then I was even struggling to like dial the number, like, because whatever was like just throwing me off and interfering with whatever, like, however I was thinking and coordinating myself, um, I managed to somehow ask the question. And even as I was asking the question, it felt like I was having like an outer body experience because it was like I'm asking, but then it's almost like I'm still having like secondary thoughts, like I'm watching myself ask these questions. So I got the number, I called a taxi, I ended up getting into the taxi, and I went to the ER and I was there all night. They did all kinds of blood work, all kinds of x-rays and just whatever you could do. But of course, when you go to the emergency room, a lot of people are there for things that are not necessarily emergencies, but that are urgent needs. And so I was there for hours, like all night. And I left the mall probably somewhere around 8. And I was at the hospital until maybe like 2 or 3 in the morning. I think I might have gotten home somewhere around 4 or something like that. But ultimately, the test came back that there was no problems, like there was nothing wrong with me. But it literally was a spiritual attack because I had returned a whole bunch of things that whatever, I had returned a whole bunch of things that I guess whatever was spiritually connected to me did not want me to return because it was trying to basically drain my energy, drain my resources. It was just crazy. Yeah, we don't have to actually pay for ER visits like in Canada. It's covered under our, I guess, government insurance, you can say. So I didn't really have to pay for that, but the purchase that I had made were very expensive and I was taking them back. And it was whatever energy, entity, dark energy that was connected to me that was not very pleased with the fact that I did that. And that's where all the attacks were coming from. And that's when they started becoming very physical. And then ever since then, I've been just dealing with a lot of physical attacks like memory fog, just physical pains like pinches, um, my back like locking up, my mind feeling just completely like just like my memory will just like go. I won't be able, like I'll be thinking about one thing and then I'll hit record and my memory will just like go blank. Or I'll have like a list of something that I need to purchase and I totally forget that I have the list with me. Or I'll be looking at a list and still be like, wait, why did I want this again? It's just really, it's a lot. There's a lot of things that I'm looking into to protect myself. By the way, hello, Christine. There's a lot of things that I've been looking into in terms of protecting myself, but The level that I'm on right now, it's like a really long story. That's why I felt like I was going to do it in a couple of parts, but I just felt like, I'm up right now, which is a part of the attacks that I've been experiencing, just really, really late nights. Um, yeah, just doing it in a couple of parts of like how I kind of got to this point. Yeah, it's heavy. But in terms of like protection, it's like a different level. Like in the beginning, like I did the videos about how to protect yourself and stuff like that. Those are all still valid and relevant, and they're good for like, you're welcome. They're good for maintenance, and they're good for just, keeping up with proper hygiene spiritually. But when you have spiritual gifts, like you can be attacked on a level that, doctors can't really help you with. They can prescribe things based on your symptoms, but at the end of the day, they don't necessarily acknowledge them in the same way that, you acknowledge them as being spiritual. They will just look at them as medical issues, but that's not going to solve the problem. So it's a difficult situation to navigate. So at the point where I'm at now with like the spiritual growth and then dealing with ascension symptoms and then also having to deal with the attacks at the same time, it just requires, I guess, maybe finding someone with more experience on how to deal with those types of things. But in general, I try to maintain like the regular upkeep with a lot of the things that I shared, like whether they be like protective crystals or cleansing your home, cleansing your body, trying to eat as well as prop as possible. But that even becomes difficult because you become so drained and just physically, emotionally, mentally drained that it just takes a toll on you. So it's even hard sometimes to keep up with those things. But yeah, it definitely takes a lot more work depending on what your spiritual gifts are, because they literally are psychic attacks. They're not like attacks where it's like something around you is happening or it's things are being manipulated around you. It's actually like attacking you and attacking your mind and attacking your body, and your mind controls your body. So you can imagine how bad it can get. Like I've experienced sleep paralysis, and sometimes some of the things that I've gone through are definitely mild compared to some of the other stories that I've heard from other people, like being assaulted in their sleep and stuff like that. It's like all kinds of crazy stuff. It can get really deep, but I'm still learning as I go along. So we'll see how things go. But I just wanted to share that little story about that incident that happened because it just seems so random. And that was like the first time that I ever experienced a physical attack. And then it kind of just kept working its way to, really attacking my spiritual gifts and, kind of trying to throw me off in that way. So, yeah, I'm hoping to come back on later and hopefully do some readings. And I'm trying to find a schedule where I can commit to be able to do some free yes or no or one card pull answers and work my way into personal readings. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing. So I'm gonna try and get some sleep, but I just wanted to come on and just share that because I don't really have the energy right now to do a full reading and all the preparation that goes into doing that before and after. It's a lot of work, and I've just been, um, yeah, dealing with trying to recover from a lot of the symptoms, and we're snowed in here, so I'm gonna see what the weather's gonna be like, a whole bunch of stuff. But thank you for tuning in. And anyone who watches this or catches the replay, thank you for watching. And check out my posts. I'm going to be putting some updates there. And like I said, my intention is to go live later and also to do some pre-recorded stuff as well. But if you have any suggestions, feel free to leave me a comment, or you can put it on the posts or where I've posted, or in the community section, I should say. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope everyone has a good morning. And thank you for tuning in, Christine. And yeah, have a great day. And until next time.